Today is Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Now the Torah writes that Nisan is the first of the months of the year. Now on the other hand, we know that Rosh Hashanah is in Tishrei, and that seems to be the beginning of the calendar. So which one is it? Is it Nisan or is it Tishrei? Says this Vasames that of course they're both true, but it depends on our perspective. Tishrei is the month where the world was created. Nisan is the month where we became the Jewish people. Where we were taken out of Egypt, we became a Jewish nation, Hashem's beloved, chosen people. And eventually we got the opportunity to receive His Torah and become one with God Himself. Which one is more important to us? To be created is nice. It's important to be here. But to be here without purpose, to be here without connection, is still not worth it for us. So Tishrei is the beginning of the year, in the sense that this is the creation of the world. But Nisan is when we celebrate our purpose of creation. Today is when we say that I want to be here for a reason, and that is to leave Mitzrayim and receive the Torah and become connected to Hashem as much as I possibly can. Nisan is the Jewish beginning of the year because what we care about more than existing is existing with purpose. In the Haggadah we say, B'chol dor v'dor, in every generation, Chayav Adam, a person is obligated, Liros es atzmai, to view oneself, Ki'ilu hu yotza mitzrayim, as if he just came out of Egypt. Says the Chedush Harim, what this means is that every generation has a new appreciation and nuance in the fact that we came out of Mitzrayim. It wasn't just a one-time thing. It gave us a freedom. It gave us the ability to connect to Hashem in so many different ways, in so many different situations. And every year we need to look back at the experiences that we had in the past year and say to ourselves that the fact that we came out of Mitzrayim and the fact that Hashem took us out and allowed us to connect to Him, this is what allowed us to get through this past year. Not just did it allow us to get through it, it allowed us to grow and become bigger people because of it. And as we get ready for Pesach, we need to think back to this past year, which has been such an interesting and strange and even hard year in so many different ways. And we need to say to ourselves that this year specifically, the fact that we came out of Mitzrayim, this helped us get through it. Not just did it help us get through it, it helped us grow and become bigger and better people because of it. On the Seder night, we eat the matzah, which represents freedom. We eat maror, which represents bitterness of exile. And then we do what Hillel's custom was. That Hillel used to make a sandwich. He used to put the matzah and the maror together and eat them as a sandwich. And the question is, what was Hillel trying to signify? What was the big deal by putting the matzah with the maror? Says this Vasames. What Hillel was teaching us was, don't make a mistake and think that the good times is from God, is from Hashem. And the bad times, the bitterness, the exile, the persecutions, God forbid, that was just as if something that wasn't supposed to happen, just something we need to get through. It's all part of a divine plan. We don't understand why and what and when, but we know and we believe that the good times and the bad times, they're all part of a divine plan, and it's all going to a perfect place. And we're going to take the matzah and the maror and put them together as one big sandwich, because bitterness, exile, freedom is all part of one plan from Hashem. One day we'll get to understand it, but for now we're going to believe it, and we're going to eat our matzah and maror together. One of the terms the Torah uses to describe the Seder night is Leil Shimurim, which translated could mean a night of guarding, where we're guarded from all forces of the world, and it could also mean a night of waiting. And it signifies the night where we're waiting for redemption to be opened once again. Just like we were redeemed on this night from Mitzrayim, we're hoping one day to be redeemed again from the exile that we're in today. And it's a little shimur, and we hope for the Seder night that this should be the night where we should be taken out of exile. Now the Sfas Emes points out that it doesn't say singular form. It doesn't say Leil Shamur. It says Leil Shimurim. We are all waiting. Who is the we? And he says that means that Hashem Himself, Kaviyachal, is also waiting. Not just are we waiting for this exile to be over, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu Himself is also waiting and hoping that on this Seder night, the Jewish people are going to do what they need to do and get to the level where they're going to be worthy of being redeemed. Because nobody wants us to come out of this exile more than HaKadosh Baruch Hu Himself. We know that there are three basic elements to the human being. There are the thoughts, the speech, and the action. What we would call the machshava, the dibur, and the ma'aseh. Says this Sfas Emes, there are three regalim, Gimel regalim, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot. Each one is connected. Each one corresponds to one of these things. And he says like the Shavuos is where we receive the Torah. That's got to do with our machshava, with our thoughts. The Torah gives us the backbone of our thoughts, our ethics, our morals. That represents the thought. Sukkah is when we go into the sukkah, we shake the Daled Minim. It's all about action. Pesach, the Yom Tov, the festival of Pesach, is all about speech. It's all about rectifying our speech. This is when we spend the whole night, the entire Seder night, the longer, the more we do it, the better. Talking and talking about coming out of Mitzrayim. And this is the time where we need to focus on rectifying our speech. Shavuos is the thought, Sukkot is the action, Pesach we rectify our speech. One of the focal points of Pesach is that we eat matzah. Now what is matzah? It's flour and water, we make it into a dough, we bake it, and it doesn't rise. What's the significance of this? Says the Sfas Emes, that's exactly the point. It's just the way we put it in. Nothing changed. When we make a bread, it becomes a different entity. It rises, it ferments, it becomes something totally different than what we created. Matzah is exactly the ingredients we put in, that is what it is. And he says what it's coming to signify is that the Jewish people in exile don't change. We went into exile and we're going to come out the same. We don't change our essence. The Jew, the Yid, stays who he is. We sometimes think that we became a different people. We lost what we used to have. He said we didn't lose anything. It's the matzah Jew. Whatever went into the ingredients of the Jewish nation stayed the same. We need to get rid of the external stuff that seems to block our image of who we are. When we do that, we'll realize, when we come out of Galus, we'll see that we were our matzah, it's flour and water, whatever the ingredients that we came into Galus, we're going to come out the same strong, special, chosen nation. In the Hallel that we say every day on Pesach, we say, Hallelu Avdei Hashem. Praiseworthy is the one who is a servant of Hashem, and our sages teach us, Velo Avdei Paro, not somebody who's a servant of Paro. Says this Sfas Emes, take a look at the difference between somebody who's a servant to a different master, between somebody who serves Hashem. Any servant, any slave, the nature is they want to get out. They want to break free. They want to just get out of this mastery. We want to be independent people. But when it comes to the service of Hashem, not just do we not want to break free, we actually do it with joy. It's a pleasure, and we thank Hashem that we're able to serve Him. Not just that, we actually look for ways how to increase Hashem's mastery over us. When we're struggling and we're not doing it right, we actually ask Hashem to help us to be our master more than ever before. And this is what it means, Hallelu Avdei Hashem. Praiseworthy is the one who serves Hashem, because this is the biggest proof in the world that this is the correct path in life. Because if it wouldn't be correct, we would be looking to get out. Not just when we're not looking to get out. We want to stay in, and this is the biggest thing in the world, so much so that we're going to thank Hashem that we are able to serve Him, and He is our master. When the Pasuk describes the situation of the people in Mitzrayim, it says, Kasher ya'anu oisei, just like they afflicted us, the same ken yirba v'chein yifritz. When they afflicted us, we grew and we multiplied. Says this Sfas Emes. What it's teaching us here on a deeper level is, whatever took place in the negative in Mitzrayim takes place in the positive when we're redeemed out of Mitzrayim. In Mitzrayim, the concept was that nobody could get out. Ein eved yachal levarach misham. No slave could get out of Egypt. The walls were locked. Just like you couldn't get out of there. When we did get out of there, and we became servants of Hashem, we cannot get out of there. Once Hashem took us out, we're locked in. And it's the best news in the world for us. Once we start serving Hashem, once we're His chosen people, we cannot get out of it. Whether we like it or not, we have to realize we are His chosen people forever. We're going to serve Him, and that is our destiny. That's who we are. In Mitzrayim, it was negative. But Kasher ya'anu oisei, just like it was in the negative, when we got taken out, ken yirba v'chein yifritz, in the positive, we became servants of Hashem, and there is no way out. We're locked in forever to be Hashem's chosen people. One of the more iconic things we do on the Seder night is after Yachatz, when we break the matzah, we take a part of it and we put it away and we hide it. We hide it for the Afikomen, which is at the end of the meal or the end of Shulchan Aruch. Says this Sfas Emes. What we're signifying here is something beautiful. When we came out of Mitzrayim, that was the root and the shorish for all future geula, for all future redemption. But we're not yet there yet. We're still waiting. We're waiting for the final redemption. And what we do is we take the matzah, which signifies freedom, and we hide it till later. Because the future geula is still hidden. We're still waiting, but it's guaranteed to come. At the end of the meal, the Afikomen is going to come out. And at the end of this bitter exile, Mashiach is guaranteed to come. There's no way we're staying here forever. Yes, it's hidden. The Afikomen is hidden. But it'll come out one day, and Hashem will redeem us from this galus. One of the things we say in the Haggadah is Kol Hamarba L'Saper B'Yitzias Mitzrayim. Whoever talks a lot about coming out of Mitzrayim, Hareza Meshubach, such a Jew is praiseworthy. And it goes on to say that even if we're Chachamim and Avonim and we're smart and we remember it from past years, doesn't matter. Talk about it, if possible, the entire night until the morning. Why is it like this? Why is it so important to talk about it so much? Even if we remember it. Says this Vasemes, because Yitzias Mitzrayim is not over. It wasn't a one-time thing that we came out and now we're redeemed. Redemption is about becoming closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is infinite. And there's infinite levels to how close we could become to Him. The more we talk, the more we come out. The more we talk about Yitzias Mitzrayim, it's not about the story. It's about leaving exile and becoming closer and closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the more we do that, Hareza Meshubach. On the Seder night, we talk a lot about the aspect of us being in exile. We don't just talk about the freedom, the geula, but we talk about the fact that we were there, Avadim Hayinu Lefarba Mitzrayim. Our sages teach us that the fact that we went through the Galus Mitzrayim, the fact that our forefathers went through it was good. It was good for us. It wasn't just the geula was good for us, but the Galus itself was good for us. And the question is why? It says this Vasemes, that Yitzias Mitzrayim, going into Mitzrayim and coming out, was all about preparing the future generations. That we could one day be redeemed. And he says that we alone wouldn't have the ability to withstand the test of exile. But our forefathers could. They were big enough to be able to do it. And Hashem made our forefathers go through exile in order that it would be in the DNA of us today that we could withstand the test of Galus and be redeemed. So the Galus Mitzrayim was the best and biggest favor for us in the world. Because our forefathers did the hard work. And now they put it in the DNA of the Jewish nation, that we could be in Galus, we could survive, and we could be redeemed. Seems to be a little bit of a strange name that we call the Seder night the Seder. Seder means order. So we know that the night has an order based on Kaddish or Chatz until we get to Halal Nirtzah. But there's many things we do in the year that has an order, and we don't call them Seder. What is it about tonight that's called the Seder night? Says the Chidush HaHarim, based on the words of the Maharal. The world has an order. There's the law of nature. Derech HaTeva. It goes, it looks like there's order. But he says that the miracles that take place with the Jewish people, there's also an order to them. It's not random. It's not just Hashem decides, oh, one day I'll do a miracle for the Jewish people, one day I'll split the sea, one day I'll make man come down. There's an order that's in the world that says that the Jewish people run on miracles, so much so that there's a specific Seder to how these Nisim come about to us. And this is what we're signifying on the Seder night. That we're not regular people. We're people that the order, the norm, the Seder that we run on is a Seder of miracles. That's the Seder night.